Hello, Treksplorers, and welcome back to Treksploration. I'm Albie.
And I'm Chris.
And today we are talking about Lower Decks, the Season 5 premiere, Episode 1, Dos Cerritos. Is it Cerritos or Dos Cerrito? Like the last time I just watched it, it was singular, but is that the plural? Will you drop the S for a plural in Spanish?
No. I do believe the Paramount Plus has it wrong. Because I was originally writing my notes saying, I swear to God, this was Dos Cerritos, but they're calling it Dos Cerrito, which doesn't make much sense. And then sure enough, the opening credits go by and then they have the title on screen.
Yeah.
Which they're good enough to do in this show. And it's Dos
like
Cerritos with an S.
All I know is I want to eat a bag of Dos Cerrito.
Dos Cerritos flavor. Is that Cool Ranch? Or what
Hopefully
flavor?
It's not spicy. Everything lately is spicy. And I'm like, okay. How you doing, Chris?
I'm doing great. I mean, this is my first live show ever on any kind of streaming platform. So I'm going to pretend like maybe I'm at a con or something and hosting a panel.
Yeah, it's like a panel. I did a panel at DragonCon, a couple three. That was fun. We have some messages already. We have from Roll for Taco. Let me see if I can put that on the screen. And he says,
Roll for Tarako.
Tarako. And I call him Frank. You know, me and him go way back to about 3 minutes
ago.
Wow,
like that you guys are.
Yeah, we're just, and he says we are live. So that is good.
Okay, good.
Trying to figure this out. Yep, it comes out. It comes up. Ooh. All right. I'll let you read most of these because I took my glasses off.
All right.
I'm so vain. I think this stream is about me. So
that's what he's saying. So that's what Frank is reading. You're so vain. You probably think this live chat's about you. It is Dos. Roll for Tarako. He says we're pronouncing it right, but we call him Frank. And he writes, I have commented before on the Quantum Leap podcast channel. I used my other name, Salazar Art Nation. I remember you, Salazar.
Yeah.
I do recall that, yes. And he bought my book, The Seeker, off of Albie's recommendation. All right, you have to tell me if you actually enjoy The Seeker,
I
Frank.
love The Seeker.
Everybody hates The Seeker.
Serenity on a train, on a sleeper train.
I got it back here. Okay,
it's like Indiana Jones mixed with
since we're
travel,
live,
mixed with sci-fi.
Right? Maybe we can get people to watch my book and me. Can you see that okay? I can't even see my screen anymore.
Did you get my message about the month of Matt, November?
I did. And I'm just worried about, copyright infringement and stuff like that. But I figured let them come after us.
Right.
Right?
So you got nothing to do with it. Plausible deniability. It's not like you're agreeing.
Christopher
to it
DeFilippis? Never heard of him.
No, I don't know him. That's the other one, Chris DeFilippis.
Yeah, Chris DeFilippis. Sue that horse guy, not me.
So how you doing, Chris? It's been 22 hours since we spoke.
I'm doing all right. I had a day at work, and then Laura and I did some early dinner, and I walked the dog. I walked her about 3 miles, I'm at the head of the Penny. I'm at the head of the block. Sometimes I walk her to town if I want to take a really long walk. This time I didn't. I went the other direction and I walked her by the bay. And we're coming back down the block. And at the end of my block, I don't know if you guys have this in Florida or if this is like a thing. All the firehouses around here on the island are volunteer firehouses. And every noon there's a siren that goes off, and it's just they're testing the sirens for the volunteer fire people. Well, we're at the head of the block. It's about 4:30 in the afternoon, and the sirens just start going off. Like my ears were hurting because we were so close to them. And Penelope just starts running down the street because she can't stand it. Well, it turns out I discovered later, because I came in and I was doing some work and I was just consumed in some stuff. And a friend of mine texted me and it said, Joel on fire in Sayville. Cafe Joel is it's a restaurant in town where I live. And the picture of this place on fire. So I said, I got to go see what's going on. I bet that's why the sirens went off. So Laura and I got into the car and we drove down to Main Street. And sure enough, I mean, there's like 4 or 5 fire trucks from different departments on the street. The fire at that point had been put out. But yeah, my little Main Street had a little bit of a tragedy today. So the good thing is the restaurant moved months ago. They moved to a different, bigger location, kind of right around the corner. So it was an empty space that they were renovating to do more with. I think they were going to put a taqueria in there or something. But if the fire started there, it spread to the neighbors and stuff because they're all old buildings that are interconnected and
the haircut place.
Yeah, exactly. The haircut place. And wow, you remember well. Yeah, there's a vintage store, a haircut place, and then it even hit the bridal shop that's in the next building over.
Oh no. But the good thing is potential brides can get a really good discount on their dress.
Right.
Like smoke.
Right. If you want to go as something out of a Tim Burton movie, I'm sure they can get you things.
That would be awesome.
They're like, they're kind of charred and tattered, just like your marriage is destined to be. So
last Halloween, we were at Serenity and I were trick or treating at Magic Kingdom, and there was this really, really cool corpse bride costume. It was like a wedding dress, but it was like all micro LED lit up. It was crazy good.
Huh.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's the only news that's fit to print that's happened to me since we spoke 24 hours ago for our first sort of live stream.
As live, we were live for really live for Brent. We were live for Brent.
So, and I guess the biggest news that I can say after that is that Frank loves The Seeker and needs more.
All right.
So there we go.
I agree. I wanted a sequel after it. I was like, and then nothing. So hopefully one day.
Yeah. It took
but honestly, anything you write, I'll read because I just think you're an amazing writer. But that's part of my.
So what about you? What's been going on since we last saw?
Well, the As Live did better with the edit. It's already out instead of like 3 days later, so that's something. It did take about 3 or 4 hours, but I was able to do other things while all the things were processing, like catch up on work and watch YouTube and, different things. So it wasn't like that long intense. So I think it's going to eventually smooth out to where I can get it up and out in a couple hours.
Gotcha.
Hopefully Riverside and everything works out and improves so we can just post the live. There's a couple like snags where the quality isn't what we normally put out, which is like 4K. Like I was saying, I had 2 weeks and stuff, and I didn't realize like I had grown ear hair like Grand Negazek until I was watching the 4K video, and I was like, oh. So today I put like 2 cans of shaving cream in my ears and stuff, and I had the nose and hair trimmer and everything, and so hopefully I'm camera ready this time. But you live.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I think you're gonna. You know what? It'll be like one of those videos where they do the transformation, right? So maybe we'll put up a before and after. We'll put up the before and then we'll reveal. We'll do a reveal. What do you say?
I should have kept it growing for next time for too short a season with some old age makeup going on there.
There you go.
All right. So today we are talking about season 5, episode 1 of Lower Decks, Dos Cerritos or Dos Cerritos or Dos Doritos. I don't know. But it was written by Aaron Burdett and directed by Megan Lloyd, and it aired October 24th, 2024. Christopher, could you read us one of your awesome episode synopsises?
Yeah, and for anybody that's been waiting for us to go live, we said we are going to go a little bit after 10, but it always takes me longer to write these synopsises, and I had double duty tonight, so that's why we didn't start until 11.
He had to write 2. It's a lot of pre-production, so... And normally we have like a week advance notice, but of course this dropped yesterday, so...
All right, Dos Cerritos, we open season 5 with Tendi paying off the family debt incurred at the end of season 4, pirating her way across the Beta Quadrant to make good with her sister De'Erica, missing her old Starfleet life. Back on the Cerritos, Mariner, Boimler, T'Lyn, and especially Rutherford are missing Tendi and contemplating their increased responsibilities when they are called to the bridge. The Cerritos has been tasked with closing a quantum fissure, one of several that have been popping up recently with unusual frequency frequency. Of course, the ship gets sucked in, and the crew comes face to face with another Cerritos, led by Captain Becky Freeman, Beckett's alt-universe doppelganger. Turns out they have entered a universe that varies only 0.327% from our own. Back on Orion, Erica gives Tendi an opportunity to get clear of her obligation for good, retrieve a centuries-old derelict Orion warship, and bring it home. Tendi agrees, but once they are on the lost ship, they're waylaid by a band of blue Orion pirates, TAS style, and mayhem ensues.
Orion.
Things are... Orion, yes. Orion pirates.
Azure.
Things aren't much better in the alternate universe where the twin crews are at each other's throats. Turns out that Captain Becky is kind of tyrannical, which leads to general bad vibes. Complications ensue, but the Prime Cerritos is finally on its way back through the fissure, but not before Captain Becky kidnaps Mariner and pulls a switcheroo. She wants to trade places with her Prime counterpart because she is tired of the pressures and responsibilities of command. But Mariner escapes her shackles and foils the plot, probably learning some kind of lesson in the process that she will surely have forgotten by the next episode. Meanwhile, Tendi learns that the old ship is actually a medical ship and wins the battle against the Blue Orions using non-violent means, flooding the halls with laughing gas. She brings the ship home in triumph, free to return to the Federation. But wait, the Blue Orions, that's going to screw me up every time, Orions have declared war on the Greens because of Tendi's dishonorably nonviolent tactics. So Tendi vows to stay and fight. This time, for the first time for season 5 anyway, on Lower Decks. And I gave a full episode synopsis on that one because it kind of leads into the second episode, which we're going to be doing tonight as well. So
yeah, after a short break in between. Oh, we got a message from Willard. The video quality for Albie is poor. That I know because I have such an advanced camera. It's a weird thing. Chris is clear as a picture, and is once again. Don't have my glasses on.
Looking a decade younger than me, although he's a year older. So yeah, what camera are you using? You know what I'm using?
Vampire. The most expensive camera that I could find with 4K and a gimbal and everything and a Riverside.
But this is the one that we decided not to use because it was like it needed too much bandwidth. So why don't you get the old dispatch?
I turned all the settings down on it and still having trouble, but that's fine. I got the backup camera. It recorded last night great to Riverside. Just the stream was, I guess I was a blob. So.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is that you look like kind of a blob to me, and it's very hard.
Aww, that's the nicest thing anybody ever said to me.
But I mean, sometimes I guess maybe lower is better. I think I need to straighten my camera.
I'm going to switch it out for one of the original just crap webcams I think I bought for $59 or something, the first ones.
Yeah, I mean, they look okay.
Problem.
Yeah,
we got to find a thing.
I tell you, like the autofocus thing is not that big of a deal, quite frankly.
No, it kind of is.
Anybody watching, that's what Albie's talking about.
Kind of gives me
whenever
vertigo.
I move,
But upgrade Cascade troubles, and we'll figure it out. But thank you, Willard. Willard, we got some pictures, but that's for later. All right. So today we are talking about the first episode of Lower Decks. I was so happy that Lower Decks was back, and they came out, I think, swinging with a great episode for the season opener of season 5. What do you think?
I think it was aight. I mean, it's fun to go to a mirror universe. It's easy for me to say. It's fun to go to a mirror universe, even though it wasn't the mirror universe. I was glad of that because I was waiting for them to enter the Terran Empire and have. Although we might have had wow, imagine if we could do like post DS9 Terran Empire stuff and figure out what goes on. Everybody kind of died though. But anyway,
Kira, is she around still or no?
The Intendant, I think she might have been killed. I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah, I got to watch it again. We'll get there.
We got to rewatch, yeah. Mm-hmm. Anyway, the Mirror Universe Lesbian Brigade. I remember those days fondly.
That was great stuff. I just remember the Mirror Universe midriffs, started with Aurora, and then we got all the ones. So
Nana went for the skin tight catsuit.
It worked for me.
Yeah,
I'm not complaining.
Just fine.
It was a proto 7 of 9, maybe.
I feel like it was Esri that went full midriff.
Esri.
And, of course, my favorite obsession of all, Ms. Linda Park.
Oh, yes. She did
Yes.
amazing in that midriff reveal. Already
was
we're
amazing.
off the tracks.
In that whole episode. Okay. Anyway,
talking about belly buttons. Barbara Eden started it all.
It's so distracting.
It is.
I enjoyed this episode in as much as I enjoy any episode of Lower Decks. If you out there listening for the first time want to hear my history and my opinions of Lower Decks, we can go revisit that on the Allison show. Mm-hmm. The one that we did where we reviewed Lower Decks season 1, episode 1.
Second Contact. Yeah.
Yes. So anyway, that being said, you can get greater context of my Lower Decks fandom from there. I can just say this in a nutshell. My fandom with Lower Decks is all over the place. It's kind of a roller coaster ride, but I'm generally a lukewarm fan. So I found this episode to be fine. It was fine.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. I was glad to have it back. I don't know how many months, with Paramount, what is it, a year between seasons or something like that, and then we only get 10 episodes. So I was excited. I was glad we had not a mirror universe, but a 0.327 variant universe where just things were slightly different. I think that was the main joke of the episode, and I just enjoyed all the variations of it because nothing was opposite. It was just slightly different. It just amused me, all the differences, and I was thinking, I wish the Funko Pops took off and they could just make a ton of them, just slightly different, longer hair.
Yeah, they would just, and the uniforms are a little bit darker in the alt universe.
Yeah,
or are we in the alt universe? Well,
with this one, they had me laughing right away with the knife to the hand, callback to the episode from last season where people just get stabbed in the hand. I think it was Tendi. They got stabbed in the hand like twice or something.
Okay. All right.
And then the opening, how that battle keeps getting like more and more.
Yeah. And I actually watched the opening one time a season just to see how they're going to increase that.
We don't skip intros here. So, when I was seeing it, I was seeing the green hand and I was like, oh, that's funny. And then I saw like the Tholian web. And I was like, oh my God. And then like I looked in the back, I think it was because I heard the sound of V'ger and I'm like V'ger and I just lost it. Like everything is against him. Cerritos
yeah. And at this point, I don't remember what's been where. I just love having all the Easter eggs. I think that before we go any further though, this is usually where we have to tell people how they can reach us. So I'm going to write the little quip that I wrote before we go on our LDS trip. You see that because LDS. LSD.
Yeah.
Reach out to us. You can subscribe, you can like, you can share. The easiest way, of course, is here on our YouTube feed, youtube.com/Treksploration. Or you can join us on our Patreon site as well at patreon.com/Treksploration. That's where we have our main hub of discussion, or it was until we had this live stream chat available to all of you out there watching. Again, that's patreon.com/Treksploration. You can go there and join the community. You don't have to be a financial supporter to join in the fun. You can get us on Instagram at TreksplorationPod, X us at Treksploration. Email us, TreksplorationPod@gmail.com. Give us a call on the phone. It's 707-847-6682. You can also send us a letter or anything you'd like to our P.O. Box, just like our cadet Listen Linda did, which we revealed on the last show. That's P.O. Box 542, Bayport, New York, 11705. You can find us on Buy Me a Coffee. It's buymeacoffee.com. Yeah, buymeacoffee.com/Treksploration. That's just another way you can maybe do a one-time support for the show if you so choose. Did we ever get the OnlyFans up and running, or are we not salacious enough
I still got to
yet?
work on it. The paramedics took my ID and I couldn't find it, but now I have a new one, so I'll resubmit with the new ID.
All right, so the OnlyFans we're still threatening you with the OnlyFans, so stay tuned for that. In the meantime, we would like to thank our existing crew of Treksplorers, our intrepid crew, including the aforementioned Cadet Listen Linda, our 1701 Lieutenant Commanders Scott Seligman, Cosplay Dad, One of All, and Fantasy Fan, and of course, our Captain on the Bridge, Captain Charles from Texas. So thank you, everybody, one and all, for your continued support of this show. And thank you all for subscribing and liking and for leaving feedback, because we do have some feedback.
Ooh.
It's nice to get some feedback, especially after you have the drought from doing a double whammy of both Disco and Angel One. But seems like Allison brought them out of the woodwork.
Yes, she brings all the boys to the yard.
Yeah. So we have a couple that came on our YouTube channel. This is from Animal Friend 777, and they write, "Just found you guys through Allison." Of course you did. "Out of curiosity, have you covered Strange New Worlds? I would be interested in your thoughts on the Lower Decks crossover."
We have not covered it yet. We were about to cover it, but we had that whole snafu, that health crisis thing that we talked about in the previous episode, 11001001. Did I get it right?
Yep, you did.
I've been working on it. And so that kind of delayed it. And then now we got the Lower Decks. But luckily the season is short. So I'm sure we'll get to Stranger Worlds as soon as Lower Decks ends. I'm excited to talk about it. As for me, spoiler alert, I loved the Lower Decks crossover. So, and I love everything Strange New Worlds is doing. They're not afraid to go outside the box. Like when we hear rumors of different episodes coming next season, and they said dancing. So maybe another musical. I don't know. I bought the album for the last one, or it was a gift actually from Rennie. But I'm really very most excited about a potentially full black and white episode that is a 40s crime noir set in LA. So I'm very looking forward to that one. But I love
Tracy Torme write that one or what?
I don't know. Oh yeah, we should talk about that. Speaking of, we lost Jerry Taylor.
Yeah.
Very sad news. I found out not too long ago.
I'm sorry to Jerry's family, and our condolences over there. I saw it just as I was starting to put the rundown together that you had sent it to me.
Yeah.
And it's sad. It really is sad. I mean, she was one of the primary movers in the TNG era. She is largely responsible as responsible as anybody else for keeping Trek alive and making it the Trek that we love, the Trek that Lower Decks is able to celebrate, quite frankly.
And her work on Voyager was amazing, and it was good to have that female voice as one of the main producers of the show. So she will be missed.
Yeah, rest in peace, Jerry.
Yes.
Rest in peace. Well, I'm interested in your thoughts on the Lower Decks crossover. I loved it. It's funny because this is just weird how life works sometimes. I was getting ready for work this morning and I had the phone on, while I was brushing my teeth, and I don't know, somehow YouTube got on it, and I was watching the scene where Boimler pops in from the rift, from the gate. This one has the rift, that one had the gate, but it's just so cool to see it go from the animation to the live action. And I think especially because I really like Jack Quaid and I really like Tawny Newsome. So to see them like do their roles in real life is really cool. Really cool.
Yeah, it was cool. I saw them in Vegas, and Tawny at least. I didn't see Jack, but I saw Tawny. Did I see Jack? I don't remember, but Tawny.
Jack was probably too busy either filming the boys or doing press promos on the boys or
something. Yeah.
Busy
Tawny's
dude.
gorgeous.
So cool. Yeah.
Well, I enjoyed it. I can't wait to get there. I can't wait to talk about it. There's so many great episodes in Strange New Worlds.
Yeah, we're gonna have fun, and we're gonna comparing it to TOS era and all that. I'm really looking forward to that.
I think we also got 2025, right?
They're saying 2025. I don't know if it's early. I don't know if it's late.
I know Section 31 is January 24th.
Yeah, so I got to think that it's going to come after Section 31.
Probably.
Yeah, okay. Section 31 is going to be an event. Let's not get started on Section 31.
And it's a part two. It's a part two of the cliffhanger.
Section 31.
We'll see who got eaten by the Gorn or not.
Right? Yeah.
All right. Willard,
another cliffhanger.
Willard says Lieutenant Kira was still alive last we saw her in Deep Space Nine. Apparently, she was killed off in the novels.
Spoilers.
Yeah. But so was Chief Engineer Argyle 3 different times. So,
So what do they know? Those novels know.
Yeah.
I mean, the novels also brought Trek back from the dead. So
yeah,
it can't be.
Did you read Imzadi yet?
No, it's right here. It's right here, still wrapped up.
I'm gonna stop.
I promise.
I'm gonna stop.
It'll be next.
That's bad. Okay. So
it'll be next. I promise.
Are we doing more in-depth discussion now on this episode?
I think we have one more. Let's do one more feedback.
More feedback?
One more small
Thank you,
feedback.
guys.
Yeah, right. And this one is more Lower Decks specific. Okay. So I just wanted to, bring this one out on this one. We have some more, but we'll save it for the second show. Non-Amaronin 1, I guess that's how you say it, on YouTube writes, Mariner works for me. Okay, Frank. Mariner works for me as a main character. Her antics should get her booted out for good, but her long redemption arc is narratively compelling enough that I can shrug it off. For me, she's basically Nick Locarno / Tom Paris if he was the main character of Voyager. What do you think?
I would agree with that. I know you're very critical of Mariner Beckett, so I'm interested to find out your thoughts on this episode because you've been wanting a serious Beckett that's past all the shenanigans and not like that, and you finally got your serious Becky Freeman. What do you think of serious Becky Freeman?
Serious Becky Freeman was fine. I think it's good that they found a way to make the characters just different enough from one another, and doing the Sirius Beckett's probably the most obvious way to go with that one. Sirius Beckett / competent Boimler.
Yeah, Beard Boimler. Yeah. It was really good.
But I guess one of the things I could say is that I knew a twist was coming, but I didn't expect it to be that. I didn't expect it to be that she runs that ship with an iron hand. It's almost like they're in the mirror universe because she's just summarily brigging people instead of killing people. But
yeah, the ship's mostly brig.
Yeah, right. So, I mean, what about you? What did you think of Captain Beck? Because you love Mariner and who she is, and
I do. I love the one that's not serious and doesn't carry the riding crop. Is that like a callback to what was it, Star Trek 5? Maybe the Captain of the Excelsior had one or something.
Captain, yeah, it was Captain 3. JT Esteban commanding.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He had I believe it was Esteban.
Yeah. So that was a little callback, I thought maybe. Yeah. I liked when they switched out and then Mariner was like, "That's so hack." I like that.
Made
they
me
called
think of
it
data
out.
lore, right?
Yeah, and all the different things. Well, speaking of, the biggest thing for me this episode was T'Lyn. Okay, I think this is the beginning of a slow burn story arc of actually they switched T'Lyn's.
Why do you think that?
Well, remember she said remarkable instead of fascinating or something like that, and then she made a joke, was like, "I fooled you."
Yeah,
and
yeah.
As a Vulcan, she's not lying whether she fooled them into thinking just then that she was the other T'Lyn, or she fooled them as they switched. It might be so like
you're playing a long game here.
Yeah, like an interesting experiment because they introduced her last season, and now this happened in the beginning. I don't know. I keep finding this conspiracy theories in TV shows and stuff. something to watch, maybe. Like I asked a couple Trek friends about that, and they don't think so, but I think so. So we'll see.
I hadn't thought of that. I think that if they're going to do that, I think that they would have done it with Mariner, or maybe the Mariner was the bait and switch. Maybe it was the red herring. Hey, look over here, and then I like T'Lyn though. I like her as a character. I like the way Gabrielle Ruiz voices the character. I think that she's an asset to the show, and I don't know that she's got enough mileage with the fans, that she's well known enough that they can already change up who she is, subvert the character, because I still think for all I like her, the character is still somewhat barely established. But how much more established do you need it to be too, right?
Right. And they're both so similar that, I don't know, I just thought the Vulcans, the two Vulcans together would say, that would be an interesting experiment, and maybe they recorded whatever variants they need to get back if they need to, or something like that. We got a little bit more live chat. Listen, I'm assuming it's Listen Linda.
Listen Linda.
Woo-hoo! That always makes me think of that song.
I have my Listen Linda feedback card right here. Thank you, Listen Linda.
Feedback card.
So, yay!
From
This
Willard,
is what you can do with the post office box. Yay!
Willard says, I second Albie. Imzadi is worth, let me put that on screen, is worth the read. One of my favorite next-gen novels. That's right from Willard. So that's 2 votes for
It really is. It's literally right here to hand.
Still wrapped.
I promise you.
Ooh, well, Willard had the same thought about Tallinn, so maybe I'm not crazy in that specific area. Willard said I had the same thought about Tallinn.
So look at that. I mean, has there been online chatter about that too? Have you, or
it's been too soon? That? I haven't.
Willard invented that.
Yeah, I try to not get too much outside information because I don't want to repeat what I hear. I just want to get my thoughts out, and then after we're done, then I go down the rabbit holes. So.
I got you. Yeah, that's kind of what I do too. So it's one of the things that's going to be a little bit weird doing this as a live show.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of people are going to want us to talk about maybe stuff that people are talking about already regarding theories, just like this one with Tallinn. And it's not something, if it doesn't occur to us and we're not tainting our opinions by pre-exposing ourselves to I said, yeah. What is this minuet? I think that I think it might be a little bit weird to. Are we going to start inventing our own things and then people take off with that? I'm not used to being on the vanguard, is what I'm saying.
That's the dream, right?
I guess.
Yes, I don't know. I'm going through my notes. I'm glancing over. Did you notice the? I did not like Peach Tendy. I like her green. There was just something off-putting about it. Like when I saw the preview of the season, like a month ago or something, whenever it came out, I just thought at first that Noelle Wells was just playing a voice of a different character. I didn't realize it was her, but yeah, I like her better green. Just saying.
All right. I mean, at first it took me a moment to cotton to the fact that it was Tendy. And then I said, wait, that is Noelle's voice, right? Mm-hmm. So it's got to be her. And then I saw the nose. Once I said, okay, imagine that her, but green. Mm-hmm. I said, okay, that's definitely Tendy. And then within, 12 seconds, they revealed that it was her anyway.
The Most Toys callback was good. I like that. I enjoyed that. And one thing I noticed that I don't think other people noticed, I did watch Trek Culture's Cetacean Observations where they point out all the Easter eggs. Because there's so many Easter eggs, there's no way to catch them all unless you.
It's so tough.
But they didn't catch this, and I thought I caught it. It might be just because we're Quantum Leap peeps. The Velton Lust Idol. It's a deep pull, right? But Velton Ray Bunch, you remember him from the music of Quantum Leap. He also did music for Enterprise. So I was like, maybe that's something.
Oh, all right. I hadn't considered that. Well, that's cool. It would have been cool if it had played some music or something, but
that would have been cool. A musical instrument, maybe. Yeah,
I think that would have been a little bit more. I honestly thought that it was just another Easter egg callback to some next gen thing, because I as much as I try, is as much almost as I don't try, because you can watch these just getting caught up. Is that an Easter egg? Well, what Easter egg is that? Oh, that's definitely an Easter egg. And trying to keep track of all of them can get to be breakneck. And I'm charged with writing a synopsis and reviewing an entire episode, not getting lost in the woods because I'm trying to figure out every single Easter egg connection.
Lost in the Woods, good song from Frozen 2, was it? I think. Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
I thought it was from Velton and the Lust Tones.
The woman from Westworld sang that on that album. We have the vinyl. It's really good. So this is like the first part of a two-parter, getting Tendi back to Starfleet. So what did you think about it being a two-parter, but not really?
It didn't feel like a two-parter to me. As a matter of fact, I was both not surprised and a little surprised that you wanted to do two separate shows tonight, only just because it makes sense to talk about both contiguously, because everybody has watched both at this point. And it's the same reason why we did the Quantum Leap series finale, turned out to be the series finale of season 2, as one show, because by the time we release them, everybody's going to have been watching them anyway. So there's no reason to separate them. So,
well, the reason I had in my brain was I usually got to pee halfway through the show because I drink all this iced tea with lemon. That's what I'm drinking. Unsweet tea with lemon. It's really good in my Wednesday cup. And also eventually we'll be monetized. So double the views.
No, I hear you. I mean, I'm sure there are reasons, and it also gives people a break. I just said on the last show that I'm not going to sit and watch a 3-hour video. So why should you? I think
more people will watch 1 hour show versus a 2-hour show.
Right.
So it's that whole thing. Like, would you watch a 6-hour movie? No. But would you watch 10 episodes straight in a day? Yes. You know.
But so to the point, though, of it being a 2-part episode, this still felt to me like it was self-contained enough to be one episode that just had sort of a cliffhanger on the ending. Mm-hmm. You didn't need to be paired with the second episode to be satisfying in itself. Mm-hmm. It's not like the Vulcan Hello, where you just finally get to something happening and it's clearly just cut off in the middle of a story. But that's a whole, I don't know if that's apples and oranges. I don't know.
And really, the only 2-part of it was the Orion story.
Exactly.
And the rest of it wasn't, which was interesting. It's like a half 2-part.
So, I mean, let's talk about the Tendi part of this thing then.
The Tendi.
Because,
love her. Yeah. Oh, my God.
Yeah. I mean, I've never she's always been my least favorite character because
I don't understand. She is cute as a button.
No. I'm sorry. I contradict myself.
Least favorite.
My second least favorite. Mariner stands to be my least favorite character. Yeah. But Tendi, it's, and again, this is not a dig at Noelle because she's going to come on the show one day.
Eventually she'll send you a card to that.
She'll send me a card like Nanrissa did. Yeah. But her voice acting has always annoyed me the most because the way they write Tendi is just so twee. And she plays that up to the hilt. And it's just like she's the most shouty and cartoony of the bunch a lot of the times.
Cartoony on a cartoon show? Say it ain't so.
Say it ain't so. I feel like they've really
she understood the assignment
with this stuff. I just think that a lot of Lower Decks is a little too cartoony for my taste, for my animation taste. That's all.
Okay. Yeah. It's not TAS by any means. Yeah. Completely different.
No, not by any means. Not by any means. Yeah. And, all of that being said, preamble, I think that she's doing great in this episode. I think that she's really become the focus of the season. Like, all of her stuff was the interesting stuff in this episode, and spoiler alert, in the next episode too. It felt to me like the Cerritos stuff, while they had character beats and things like that, the plots on those were fairly stock. Like there wasn't a lot of stuff we hadn't seen before in different ways. What do you think?
Say that again. I was thinking about Noelle Wells. Sorry.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
It happens. This is live. I can't cut it out. You know, this is me. I normally cut it out.
I'm just saying the Tendi plot, the Orion plot versus the Cerritos plot. I feel like the Orion plot was the main driver of the story for both this and the next episode, and it's when things get interesting.
So I don't know what the A plot or B plots were.
Yeah. Well, I think like the Cerritos plot though was a bit more stock, a bit more stuff we've sort of seen before, but repackaged in a Lower Decks way.
TNG episode of the week kind of thing. Yeah. I like that they were tied together a little bit by Rutherford and Otherford, both missing Tendi. And I did like that. And it's interesting to see, you know, because Rutherford and Tendi have this relationship. It's a platonic relationship, but it's a strong friendship. And I think they do better together, and it shows what happens. I mean, Rutherford Samanthan definitely needed a shower, and then the other one turned himself into a Borg just because he couldn't deal with the pain and the loss of losing Tendi. So, I mean, I enjoyed that part.
I think it's funny that now if we're going to go back to discussing the doppelganger aspect of this, in many ways, the slightly different thing, but what our main cast, what the core three were faced with were almost what are the archetypical best versions of themselves, or what their best versions should be. So Mariner is a captain, Boimler is super competent, and Rutherford is teched out to the tech nirvana. And it shows you that in Boimler's case, it's the only instance in which for him it's a seeming positive. Whereas both of the other two. Oh God, I'll get this live stuff down eventually.
Yeah.
The other two, it seems like it's to their detriment.
Yeah.
So I that was an interesting wrinkle.
Well, to me, it makes sense because, like, if somebody in our Prime universe, the real universe, I like that they're fighting about that too. But our crew, if they're a mess, the other one's going to have their stuff together in the other slightly different universe, and if they got their stuff together, they're going to be a mess in the other universe, kind of thing. I think. So yeah, I enjoyed it. What were some of your favorite mirror or not mirror universe, alternate universe counterparts that you saw?
I really, because I don't have much basis in the characters, they all looked samey as they were supposed to. I guess it was I forget his name, mustache dude, not being a virgin, becoming the regent of this planet, becoming Billups. Yeah,
King Billups.
This Billups embraced his destiny, whereas our Billups is just like, nope, not for me. I don't want it. And it was fun that they were able to capitalize on something, because that Billups episode was one of the very few that they did over the seasons that didn't have to do with the core four.
Yeah. I enjoy his character. I thought that was funny, and it kind of gave me thoughts of Worf wearing his sash.
Oh, okay. So, all right.
I liked Ta'ana. Is that the doctor's name? I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, where she wasn't different at all.
Did she even talk?
Probably. I think everybody gets a line, right? Shax had slightly longer hair.
Yeah. I did like that. Where'd you get those muscles from strangling Cardassians?
So did I, or whatever he said. Yeah, that was funny. I liked Ransom having slightly longer hair. That was weird. And I loved when they were arguing, but complimenting each other on how sexy they were while they were doing it.
Yeah.
So I don't know how well versed you are in Rick and Morty, but I want to say that both Ransoms might have went for ice cream together. Just saying.
Probably. Yeah. Had they had the opportunity, I don't know. I think they would have noticed all the Briggs.
It's mostly Briggs.
It's mostly Briggs. It's
little
mostly
lines
Briggs.
like that. I actually laughed out loud a lot this whole first episode. I think it started off with the it's prescription.
Yeah. Actually,
that doesn't make sense. A prescription nose to ear ribbon.
I loved when when the collector said, "I'll send you back to your slime dungeon that you were born in." She's like, "I don't want to go back to my dungeon." It's like it wasn't even an insult. I guess her Ryans are raised in slime dungeons.
She was saying she was from a dungeon, so it's funny. Yeah, so, I love the writing on these shows. I really do. The humor is definitely for me. Beard Boimler. So okay,
hit or miss. Beard Boimler, I swear to God, he looks just like my friend Dominic. But anyway, I thought that was an interesting take on Boimler. I feel like we're kind of treading some of the same ground that we already did, though, with the Will Boimler stuff.
Okay, yeah.
Because he's got his transporter clone who goes to the Titan and flourishes, who becomes like this real hip guy. And the other conspiracy, I guess, was at the end of that is, are we stuck with, I guess, because the transporter clones, they're equally perfect. Like there is no quote original.
Right.
Although they did that with Thomas Riker.
And he just took Thomas because Will had been in Starfleet that whole time, and he wasn't given that name.
But I think I'm wrong here. I'm conflating this when they had two Crichtons in Farscape.
Love Farscape.
And so they never ever copped to the fact that one of them was an original. They were both suitably original.
I've read and heard of the Switch Boimler thing. So that is a thing.
Is that a thing? That's a thing. Okay.
And when they doubled, they're equally the same at that exact moment, and their lives only diverge after that.
Okay.
So
all right.
It could be like a Harry Kim thing where we just got a different one. Yeah.
What does that Harry know? Does that Harry who are you?
I don't know. It's weird.
It's like, and they, of course, it's Voyager, so they never ever explore it.
No, but hey, did you see? I don't know if you know, we're getting Harry Kim back in Lower Decks this season.
I did, because I was looking at the cast list on Wikipedia, and they did say Garrett was going to be on. Sorry, spoilers, everybody. You're going to hear Garrett Wong's voice. Oh no!
Yeah, I think there was it looked like there was like 10 different Garretts in the brig or something. It seemed interesting. So, and I think ours is the joke was the one we know is the only one that didn't get promoted or something.
Oh, okay, all right, that probably makes some sense. So yeah, I mean, I liked Alt Boimler for everything that. Again, it gives
Alt Boimler or Beard Boimler. Which one are you talking about?
Both aren't they the same thing? Alt Boimler is Beard Boimler, right? I think Beardy Boimler is something for Boimler to strive for, but again, it's kind of like we've already seen him confront that with the transporter clone thing. So it's just they're retreading the same ground. And this has been the problem that I've had with Lower Decks, is that every time the characters have some semblance of growth, they find a way to ratchet it back or just conveniently forget about it so that they can keep telling the same types of jokes with the same types of character instead of letting the humor evolve along with the characters. And it drives me nuts because it's just like, oh, we're here again. We just saw this.
I'm approaching it from a different thought process of Boimler again bumping into an alternate version of himself that's got his stuff together. So it like doubles down on his feeling of inadequacy. No matter how hard he tries, he can't just get to where and who he wants to be. But he sees that two different versions of him were able to do it. And did you watch the New York Comic-Con panel for Lower Decks I sent you?
No, I hadn't watched it.
I send you links.
Again, so I'm not going to watch a 3-hour YouTube.
no, it's only an hour trek. I think.
I know,
but that was a really good panel. It was the first time they were all together live in person. Mike McMahon and the Core 4. But they were talking about how Boimler steals this pad, and I saw that before I saw the episode. Takes it from Beard Boimler, and basically that pad is the running storyline throughout this whole season, because it's kind of like a cheat sheet on how Boimler can get to who he wants to be by following. I
was hoping that they would carry through on that.
Yeah, so that's
they did lay a couple of seeds, I think, for the rest of the season here. One is the fact that these anomalies, these quantum fissures, are showing up with alarming frequency all over the quadrant. So I think, is that going to be a recurring thing?
Yeah, that I think they mentioned that's going to be a thing too.
Okay, and this whole mystery with Starbase 80 and Captain Freeman.
At first I thought she died from the tears.
I thought that she was dead too. I thought that would have been a little bit more interesting, but then to give her stakes, like, well, how did I end up at Starbase 80? But for all you know, your daughter ratted you out in that universe because she was a social climber and not very nice. But that gets a little bit to be too much like the mirror universe. I don't know. I think that is it important for us? She was.
Yeah.
So, but is it important for us to know the fate of a captain in a universe that we're not going to see again, most likely? And why would that necessarily put our Freeman on a path towards this starbase that everybody hates?
That's true. But I think we're meant to see it as some kind of impending doom for her character. So that might come up later on in the season. But of course, they'll figure out how to get out of it.
Maybe
the ragtag Core 4 will get together and save her.
I guess what I'm saying is, just as a way of commentary, if that is something they're setting up as a season-long burn, it's not one I'm specifically interested in.
Okay.
Because I think that of the characters, I think that even, this is going to sound terrible, but even Jerry O'Connell's character has more depth than Dawn Wells' character. I just don't think that Freeman is just like the staunch voice of authority, and this is all she does, delivers her lines like this, and get out of my bridge. Or the character is just a foil most times, and I don't find stories that revolve around that character to be very interesting because I'm not crazy about the way she's written and I'm not crazy about the way the character is acted. So, what about you?
I do like Captain Freeman. I think we learned more about her in. It was that episode that was the movie, I think, and they were the mother and daughter were working together or something. If my memory serves. But it's difficult because the main bridge crew, you're not supposed to see them develop as much as the lower decks because it's not about the main bridge crew, it's about the lower decks. So there's got to be like, it's weird because they're like the bridge crew, which we're used to watching Star Trek as being the main focus of the show, but the lower decks are the main focus of the show. So I think they intentionally don't develop the characters as much for the main bridge crew as they do for the ones we're supposed to be following. So I think it's on purpose, but I do like her.
I think it's on purpose too, but I think that they found better uses for the offhandedness of those characters. I guess in one note jokes, with Shax being a little bit psychotic, with Ransom being like super
he went to
vain.
the Black Mountain.
Yeah, with Billups being the royalty, I think they fleshed them out quite a bit enough to where you can appreciate them. It just seems to me that Freeman is the one that's fallen the most flat, even though she's had her own share of storylines, and they've tried to give her dimension and depth. I just don't feel it coming from the character. But that's me.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see how that goes. We'll see. We'll revisit that at the end of the season in about 8 weeks, I think. Right? Because we got.
I mean, I suppose it's going to be the last season, so maybe they'll do a movie too. You know,
yeah, they're talking movie. They're talking
right?
animated or live action because all the actors look like the characters actually close enough and stuff. So that we're talking about that at New York Comic Con too, is possibly doing something live action. But they said the last season on Paramount Plus in this form. So I honestly, I'm heartbroken that it's ending because I love it so much, and I thought it would be like The Simpsons or Family Guy or Futurama and go for 30 years. And it can still, but I think it's gonna go that way. And does it go to Fox? Does it go to Netflix? Does it go to Hulu? Who knows? It depends who's on the board of directors. That's a Trekkie, pretty much, I think.
Yeah, I mean, those decisions are made so arbitrarily. It's so capricious. Yeah. There's just no rhyme or reason for it. So,
but I don't see it not coming back ever, since everybody's willing to come back.
I think we're talking about Mirror Mariner. We just had another one chime. Willard writes, Mirror Mariner would have thrown Captain Freeman into an agonizer and then had her executed for treason. I feel like this Becky Mariner, was just north of that. I feel like had there been agonizers, there would have been one installed on that 0.357% variant ship. But this actually goes to a point that I've had. Okay. Because you can say that none of these crew people are very different from our prime crew. And they are just, they even say it. It's almost as if we're just seeing ourselves had we made slightly different choices. But it also points to the fact that how bad this Mariner is supports my theory that Mariner is a true like psychopath. She's just a murdering sociopath. Getting back to that movie episode where she's running around the holodeck murdering the entire crew, and that's how she relaxes. I never saw that again. I never saw that as harmless fun. I know it's supposed to come off funny and irreverent and everything, but I feel like so antithetical to the message of Star Trek and how the Federation crew and how the Federation personnel would conduct themselves. But I've always preferred the more buttoned down version of Starfleet, the Picard approach and sort of the Kirk approach. Kirk was kind of maverick, but he was always very by the book in many ways. There was a real sense of decorum with Kirk, where we've lost a lot of that in all of the new Trek. Everybody's best friends on the bridge and they're all quipping at each other and nobody can just give a direct order and say, yes, sir. And I feel like we lose something when we lose that for the sake of comedy and lower decks mainly. I had a point here. I'm trying to remember where I was going with it, but I think that that's another reason why Mariner just sticks in my craw so much, is that she just is not fleet material, yet she's on there because we need a funny foible for the lead of the show to help parody the Starfleet model, to maybe help give a contrast so that we can poke a little bit of fun with it or at it. I don't know.
I think if they gave you that, the show would be very boring and definitely not a comedy.
I think you're right. I'm not saying that this would make it a better show. I'm just saying that it would make the character more palatable for me, which would ruin everything. Right? We don't need the character. It's not about me. I mean, my problems are the Chris problems, I think, what I'm saying.
Yeah. All right. So before we go to our final thoughts and ratings, I'll let people know if they did want to call in, video chat call in. The time is coming up soon. So get your requests in and your cameras and microphones and whatever set up. I'm going to read through my notes. You can glance at your notes, see if you got everything you wanted to talk about.
Well, one thing I'd like to talk about is the Blue Orions. Now I have to go back and watch.
Have you watched that episode lately? With Pirates of
not lately. I mean, I know I've seen it, and they looked very familiar when they came on screen. But I think it's really clever that they took what was essentially a production mistake and wrote it into the lore. But I cannot recall for the life of me what episode of TAS had the Orions, and did they pronounce them Orions? I guess they did.
They must have. But I want to say the title is Pirates of Orion. I thought it was, but Pirates of Orion, I guess.
Oh, so it must have been Pirates of Orion then. Yeah, obviously. Yeah. I didn't look it up. I didn't have a chance to look it up before.
I got them on VHS, DVD, Blu-ray, Laserdisc, all that stuff. So I've seen them.
So I enjoyed that callback, and anything that they can do to maybe bring it back to TAS, I always get tickled. That's my favorite Easter eggs, when you see stuff from TAS pop, and they had the Gazintis and all that. So we're getting told by Willard that we do not see an option in the app to request a live call-in. It's available on the desktop, but I do not have a webcam.
Desktop and laptop is the only thing it's available on. Yes, it's not available for mobile right now. That I do know.
There's one thing I do know.
What do you know?
There's a lot of ruins in Mesopotamia.
One thing I noticed that this episode reminded me of the one with Kelsey Grammer. What was that? I used to know the name of that. The time loop episode.
Yeah, I love that episode. I want to say that he's Captain Bozeman.
Yeah. So I was kind of looking for a reference to that episode, but I didn't see it. I'm not saying it's not there, but a Frasier reference would have been great somehow.
Why are you looking for Frasier in this one?
Because of the two ships and the rift and different things. It reminded me of that. And of course.
Oh, I see.
It also reminded me of the Enterprise episode where the two ships were like flying together while they had a cable in between them.
I got you. Yeah. I love that one. That's a great one.
Yeah, that's a great one. What is it? They got a Trip? They got a transport Trip?
Trip has got to go. He's got to go down the cable for some reason. I don't remember it. That's one of my favorite, because I love Captain Hernandez and I love the Columbia. Mm-hmm. So the fact that they had the two NX class ships there together and doing that whole spacewalk thing, that's one of the times when Enterprise felt the most exciting to me. So it's right. I do recall. Yeah, it was real. Right? There seemed to be a sense of danger.
Yeah, it was inside the warp bubble.
And you're right. It did harken back to that, because when they had the quote effect shot, even though it's just all the same animation, they had the animation of the nacelles like linking and all of the energy going through. And I thought that was a neat moment.
That was neat. Okay, we do have a caller in soon. This is Linda calling in.
Hi, Linda.
And we will get you in a little bit. Just wait a couple minutes and we'll be right there. So Linda is on hold. And
I don't know how this works. So
me neither. We're learning as we go. I can probably just take it since, we're just learning and stuff like this. We can do like a double cleanup for our notes that we didn't get to. Let's see if we can say hi to Linda. I'm going to
hi, Linda.
Allow her in to talk to her for a couple minutes.
Hey, there she is.
Yeah, Linda. Look who it is. Listen, Linda.
Nice to put a face to the name.
Is my mic working?
Yeah, everything's
very
working
much
great.
so.
You look good. You sound good.
You're coming through loud and clear. Loud and clear. Well,
I just wanted to say hi and make sure everything was working.
Hi, thank you for being our first call-in.
Yeah.
Yes,
thank you for being our proof of concept.
Linda, what thoughts do you have on season 5, episode 1 of Lower Decks? Did you get to watch it?
Honestly, I haven't watched it yet.
Okay. Oh, so we just spoiled it for you.
Okay.
Are you a Lower Decks fan in general?
Lower Decks. I think I only watched part of the first season, so I'm still getting into it.
Okay, so
and yet you're still watching us. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
that's what it's all about.
What's your Star Trek sweet spot then?
TNG.
Oh, typical.
All right. Me too. I live there, kind of. I love it.
And the original series.
Yeah. Thank you for throwing me that bone, Linda. I really appreciate it. I don't know if you saw, because we just released it an hour ago, but you might have heard it on the pod feed. But we did get your feedback. I showed the card earlier, so so you saw us do the live unboxing. Yeah,
I'm sorry if it was a little beat up. It went to the mail a couple of times.
Oh yeah, no, that wasn't you. That was the post office. But thank you. Another Linda. She's troubleshooting for us again and again, because now we know that the calls work and the video calls work. Without you, the post office box would still be inactive. None of us would be any of the wiser about it.
I think Linda needs a credit in the credits for like beta tester, systems engineer, consultant.
So she's our guardian angel. So thank you for following us from QLP and for joining us here on this Star Trek show. I mean, just this little Star Trek show. It's good that nobody else is doing a show like this on the internet, that you're on the ground floor with us, of people, two white guys talking about Star Trek on the web. I mean, we're really on the edge here.
Hasn't it? I thought it was an original idea,
to be
Chris.
in 3D.
Yeah. Right, that's true.
You got 80 views for the 3D episode. Yeah. So, I mean, it's out there.
It works.
2 of them were me, because I watched it twice in 3D.
But
there you go.
I understand your editing nightmares, because I do a little bit editing too, because I work at a school and I'm in charge of the morning announcements. I spend so much time just editing for like a 5-minute show. It takes me hours.
Yeah, it's crazy, right?
It is ridiculous. Yes.
Yeah, people just don't realize how much goes into it. We need to start just a different podcast where we bitch about editing, like editing war stories.
I wonder if that's
because we always seem to go there. It's like we need to go into an edit bay with a psychologist to point to the, and say, show me where the machine hurt you. It's just terrible the way we talk about editing. It's crazy.
Do you ever put Star Trek episode titles in the morning announcements?
No.
Like if you want second chances to go to lunch today.
We did do a pirate theme last week, but
Arr, so cool. The Pirates of Orion.
The Pirates of Orion, right. You could go as a blue Orion next week for Halloween. It's funny. I'm curious to know which is the better show, Quantum or Star Trek?
Oh my gosh. You're this is the baby being pulled apart, I can't do it.
It's called Solomon. I people tell me I'm wise.
King Solomon, that's it. I know I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna say it.
Chris, that violates what you taught me. That comparison is the death of joy.
I think that's a little different, but anyway, I'll go out and say that they're separate but equal. I think that they're both excellent shows in their own right.
Well, Star
for
Trek
different
is
reasons.
The OG.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, I'll give you that. Even though you're a next gen fan, so you've been following.
You will be
you've been following our next gen recaps, right?
Yeah.
No, I'm sort of. So
if 1100110011 could get you that caught up in Star Trek, I think you got a good journey ahead of you.
All right. Well, you say that like I'm an anomaly, like people don't like that episode, but
there's been a lot of anomalies popping up lately.
All right. I see what you did there. Linda doesn't because she didn't watch the episode, but
hopefully she watches it after this.
I will laugh at that later.
Exactly.
Yeah, there you go.
Exactly.
You'll bank that. Thank you.
We'll have to just put a note right there and mark it on your calendar. So yeah, I mean, are you planning on catching up on all of Lower Decks before venturing on to season 5, or do you think you're going to just dive into season 5?
No, I'll probably watch. Have there been any new characters? I don't know.
T'Lyn, the Vulcan.
Okay,
I think she's added. Like she's the 5th core 4. So.
Yeah, of note, there'll be a couple of new ones in the background that you'll see. They were featured in this episode. One of them's the Tanagra alien. I never know. Darmok.
Yeah, that was one thing I was disappointed on.
Strange New World, so I can get this crossover, because if there was a crossover before, I'm like, I didn't get it because I wasn't watching it.
Do you watch Strange New Worlds?
I have watched it, yeah.
Oh, okay. So if you watched last season, you did see the crossover.
Yeah,
but I didn't get it.
Oh, okay.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
It was fairly self-contained of necessity.
The sad thing about modern television is the seasons are so short, but it's also great to catch up because in one day, on a weekend, you can binge a whole series basically.
Oh, I know. I usually don't start a series until it's completely over.
I've done that a lot.
That's smart.
So many shows got canceled too early, and I don't trust them. I need established shows that I can binge.
I feel like I'm getting that way with novel series as well, and I'm looking at you, Patrick Rothfuss. Finish your series, sir. But yeah, it gets to be a point where you're waiting, or George R.R. Martin, you're hanging on for dear life for these book series that you're so invested in, and you don't think the third or final will ever come out. So it's probably good. At least to only expect 2 seasons or whatever, however they're going to end it, or in the case of Quantum Leap anyway. But yeah, that's very wise. I'm sorry, I dropped the pen.
But Linda, before we let you go, you love TNG. Okay, and Chris is talking about books. We need more votes. Should Chris read Imzadi? Have you read Imzadi?
Oh, no, I haven't read that, but it sounds really interesting.
It's about Riker, Indiana, and time travel and love.
Why don't we do like a Star Trek book live stream like once every couple of months?
I would love that.
I would love that. Like an
Imzadi
episode.
To start with. And don't you know the author, Chris? Aren't you like in that?
I've met Peter David in passing. I believe he lives in the same community that I do because I
just have him sit next to you in the other chair.
There you go. But we're in no way close. Peter and I don't know each other. I know someone who knows Peter very well, so I could maybe get him to talk to us. Maybe.
All right. Well, we got two. We got 2 yeses. You should read it, and 1 no answer yet. So.
Okay, it looks like I'm reading Imzadi next. Right now, I'm reading Becky Chambers' the Long Journey to a Small Angry Planet. It got a lot of good reviews.
That sounds good. Right now, I'm reading The Seeker again.
Found it on. Stop it. The Seeker. Anyway, nobody likes The Seeker.
I love The Seeker.
Everybody hates The Seeker. You and who was it that liked it?
I want to say Willard.
Was it Willard?
Yeah, I think so.
Thank you, Willard. Thank you, Albie. So.
Or was it?
I'll send you.
Oh, nope. It was Ruffalo Surface Taco.
Oh, thank you, Ruffalo Taco. Frank. Thank you, Frank.
Thank you, Frank. All right, Linda.
Well, thank you, Willard,
so much
for reading it and loving it when you do.
If you don't have to wake up too early and you're here for our second show tonight, feel free to call back.
Yeah.
Oh, I have to go to bed.
All right.
You guys are even up right now. You are on the other side of the country.
Yeah, This is how Albie do. Either you be a night owl or you're not friends.
We always plan like 9 to go at 9, but it always ends up being 10 or 11. So
so
it works out. And so watch it on the replay. Thank you so much, Linda.
I will watch the replay. Maybe after I've watched the episode.
So, there you go.
There you go. You'll understand it more. Like what are we talking
context.
About? Okay.
What do you mean?
Thanks for watching us, and thanks for staying up late with us, and thank you for being our first caller. That was amazing.
All right.
Yeah, and for your continued support.
Let me know when Serenity gets that little gift.
Oh yeah, I will.
I think I'll have her tomorrow. Well, I'll have her on the show, open it live, hopefully. So we'll see, depending on how late we go that night.
Yeah, I was buying something for myself, and I said, I think Serenity would like this. So
she'll love it. She'll love it. I'm sure.
Well, that's
Thank you so
fantastic.
much.
Well, we look forward to, having you as a regular caller on our live streams. I'm sure it'll eventually become the Albie, Chris, and Linda show.
Yeah, that'd be great. Roll for Turaco said, I like the Seekers. So that was him. Yep.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you for
sir.
being part of this crazy experiment that we're doing. I really appreciate it. All right. I'm going to try to figure out how to hang up on you. And
Okay.
I think
I just leave.
you have to
I can press leave.
You have to stick around for a minute so it uploads. So make sure it fully uploads before you close the computer.
Oh, yeah, we're on Riverside. That's weird that way.
All right.
Riverside
Thank you,
is
Linda.
a little hinky.
All right.
Bye, Linda. Thank you.
Oh, Linda, thank you so much. How about that? It's working, I think.
Yeah, it is. And we have Willard saying, can I vote again? If so, yes. What does he want us to vote for?
On Imzadi, I'm thinking. Was it on Imzadi?
Oh, should we read it as like a live, or I don't even know. Anyway.
Well, definitely book club it and I'll read it. So
I like books.
Yeah.
I have a gazillion Star Trek books as you can see. So
I know, that's why I thought you'd read it.
Those are only a
Eventually,
small
the peer
sample.
pressure and the FOMO will get you.
Oh, Albie.
Voting.
I relish letting you down.
Willard is voting for Chris.
I read Imzadi.
Yep.
Gotcha.
So I want to say that's 6 votes, but
all right.
One of them was she hasn't read it yet. Linda hasn't read it yet.
Well, the Becky Chambers book is actually wearing a little bit thin. I'm about a little bit past halfway through it.
I read Marilyn Chambers' book. Did you know she was on the box of Ivory Snow?
I do.
Yeah.
Here we go. Now this is the OnlyFans content that we're going to start getting into. So
talking about
I'm going
Marilyn
to steer
Chambers
you away from that. I'm going to steer you away from that. So
all right, thank you so much.
It's great to have Linda. So are we going to do our usual stuff? We're going to start wrapping up.
How
do you want to do
quickly
it?
because we got another show coming up. Let's see. You got anything on the double cleanup? Any notes you had that you didn't get to mention?
No, I mean, not that I can't roll into final thoughts.
Okay. That's fine. So, Christopher D. Philippus, would you like to tell people, is that what we do now? You tell people and then we do final thoughts and ratings? Or do you do that?
No, I think we should tell people at the top of the show and the bottom of the show. That's just what I think.
Good.
So let's do it this way. Let's do, who's your episode crush?
My episode crush in this episode, and I'll combine these with my Trek and Tell for time, is Devana Tendi.
Okay.
To me, she's gorgeous. The character, I love the sweetness and the purity and the kindness of the character and the scientific curiosity and just who she is. I love her. She's awesome. And like, if there was that game of make out, marry or murder, she would be the one of the core 4 that I would marry.
Okay.
So,
I have a hard time with this because it's cartoon.
I'd go with Wilma, but I'd be thinking of Betty.
I hear you. I mean, I don't know that I have a crush so much. I do have a favorite part of the episode. I really liked the Otherford joke. I think that was funny. I liked of the core 4, like the character journeys in this episode. I was really digging the Tendi stuff because it was the most exciting. It's when the episode came to life, but where I had the most, I don't know, like emotional resonance, it was with the Rutherford stuff and him missing Tendi. And I liked that his double was, again, that taken to a bad extreme. Mm-hmm. So
I'm right there with you.
Yeah.
As much as I love Tendi, I love Rutherford Samanthan so much too, because of the same pureness of his heart. And like, I feel like he's a kind person. And if I was to meet him or her, I would love to be friends with them,
Right.
And just share my life with them. All right. We got a new message from Ruffalo Taco. I'm pronouncing that wrong. Will there be a Star Trek book club? I missed the QLP book club. I missed the QLP book club too.
Yeah, I mean, we got as far as Obsessions. We were going to read Obsessions before, things went tragically wrong. And I loved going back through the old QLP books, but what was perfect about that was it was so finite. Like there was only going to be a certain amount. There are so many Star Trek books, and then how do you pick which ones to read? And how. So it's something that we'd really have to think about how we're going to present it, and how do we keep it down to a reasonable choice, really. So.
And, we're still struggling. I have a QLP after show to put out. And again, with my editing time restraints now, and it's like, I think 6 or 7 of us. So it's going to be an editing nightmare, but it's a great show. It's about Man of La Mancha, but the loss I still struggle with that even a year out. And
me too.
Humans are weird. And I'm one of them. And sometimes you just don't want to go back in that room, even though they don't live there anymore. I don't know if that makes sense.
You don't have to tell me. I have raw audio of us talking about Mean Street. That was going to be a bonus episode for Leaps Elsewhere, and I can't bring myself to even open the file.
That being said, when I have purpose, and I do have purpose, so this is a little behind the scenes. November is the month of Matt, so I'm gonna do my best to release a few things in support of his GoFundMe, so people can donate again this year and before Christmas. So November. So we'll see if I can get some stuff out. I still have the unaired pilot. I haven't finished editing. That he's in, so that's another hour of Matt that hasn't been out there. So maybe I'll release that for the month of Matt, November. And
just for the benefit of anyone that's watching us live who doesn't come to us from the Quantum Leap podcast, we always just assume that people know us from that, and that's why they're here. Yeah. But Albie and I were on a show called the Quantum Leap podcast. Albie was the founder of the show; he created it, and last year, one of our hosts passed away unexpectedly. During Christmas time. And we were all devastated and so taken aback by it that the QLP ever since has been pretty much on hiatus. We did make it through and did the end of the second season of the reboot, but once that ended, we just decided to take a breath and take a step back. And we're still missing Matt. We just miss Matt, and it's still very tender. And just talking about it now is getting me a little emotional. But, Roll for Tarako is asking, what can we do for the month of Matt? I mean, I'm going to remember him. We'll try to do what we can to raise money for his family.
We have some ideas. And we're going to definitely be there. And we're going to, I know I'm going to do a live stream where people can donate like they did last year. Super chats that go right to his widow.
Right. So just stay tuned. We'll let you know when we figure out stuff that we're going to do. We'll definitely
look around for November. So everybody loved him. And to connect it back to this episode, Matt was one of those people that was like Tindy or Rutherford, where they're just pure of heart and you just want to hug them.
And he absolutely adored Lower Decks. He loved it. So this makes
and the Spice Girls. We got another comment. I haven't read it, but I vote for Chris to read it. Looks like we're reading it.
There we go. It looks like I'm reading Inzadi. Okay.
It's a good
next,
read,
I promise.
You'll get it done in an afternoon. I know you. It takes me a couple days.
Well, yeah. Well, that's the goal. Anyway. All
right.
Okay,
so
Inzadi, we get it.
And favorite crush, favorite part of the episode. Chris, what's your favorite part of the episode?
I already said the Rutherford thing. What about you?
I thought that was your crush. The same thing. It's very similar, right? My favorite part of the episode was the slightly different. And I think the opening, which was great, which had me laugh out loud. The other laugh out loud was it's mostly Briggs. I just laughed. Okay. If one thing I was disappointed on was the Darmok guy, I was hoping the one that was slightly different spoke English and they couldn't communicate because that would have been hilarious. I think they just might have missed that one, but
well.
Overall. So what's your final rating on this?
I'm going to give this for Lower Decks. It was fairly solid. If some of it was ordinary, I'm going to give it a solid 3, maybe 3.5 out of 5. Let's say 3.5 Blue Orions.
Okay. I love this episode. I think I enjoyed the first one better than the second one. We'll see when we talk about the next one. But I love all the Star Trek tropes and conventions being used and yet called out and turned on their head and done in a different way. And I just love having Lower Decks back. And this can't be the end. Please, Mike McMahon, do what you can to take it somewhere else, get it done. I am going to give it out of 5. I'm going to give it, I wrote it down now, 5 prescription nose ribbons.
Very good. Very good.
Right,
well, we want to know what all of you out there watching or listening think of the episode. Once again, you can hit us up in the comment section below here on YouTube, youtube.com/@Treksploration. Go to our Patreon site, patreon.com/Treksploration. Get us on Instagram @TreksplorationPod. Twitter us, X us, @Treksploration. Email TreksplorationPod@gmail.com. Phone us at 707-847-6682. Send us something to the post office box. It's P.O. Box 542, Bayport, New York, 11705. And you can always go buy us a coffee, buyuscoffee.com/Treksploration. Albie. So
buy us a pizza.
Well, we have to tell people how we're doing this. Usually, we'll do a bonus episode like a Lower Decks, and then we'll go to the next gen episode. But I think we're suspending next gen for now and just going all Lower Decks all the time while it's airing. Is that correct? We'll
see how it goes. I'm thinking still 2 a week, but this one counts as 1 because it's 2 halves, even though we ran long. So it depends on, you have a wife and a family and dogs and stuff. So it all depends on your time, and we'll do as much as we can and as much as we want to, because we want it to be enjoyable and pleasurable for us as well as everyone else.
Gotcha. So next up on our recaps, our Lower Deck recaps anyway, is going to be season 5, episode 3, entitled "The Best Exotic Nanite Hotel."
I'm looking forward to that.
What
is that a reference to? Is that that movie or play that was out a while ago in the 80s, I want to say? Didn't have Whoopi in it?
I'm not even really sure. I think it is supposedly, there was a movie, I think, that had it. And maybe it was a play. I'm not really up on mainstream stuff, so.
Okay, but nanites. Okay.
But nanites, that I know.
Ooh, hopefully we get a Wesley Crusher cameo. That would be awesome.
We already had that.
Yeah, but not on Lower Decks, did we?
No.
Okay, so we'll need it. He'll save the day. That would be great. I would love that.
Awesome.
Okay, so for Treksploration, I'm Albie.
And I'm Chris.
And until next time, we'll see you next time. ...
I guess. And we'll still be live. We just won't be on camera. So don't get worried about us, is what I'm saying. Anyway, bye, everybody.